Hey, how's it going, Mike? So I guess I'll start first for the people who don't know who you are. A quick intro to yourself. How long have you been doing this?
Oh man, it's gonna make me sound old. I've been using computers on stage since the Commodore 64, so that kind of dates me.
Wow.
So yeah, that was my first computer on stage, and with a sequential circuits interface and a Oberheim DX drum machine. So yeah.
It's pretty impressive, though.
So my first big tour was with a Atari with Earth, Wind and Fire, and then Madonna in 1990.
So how'd you
On the
come
website,
across
okay.
Earth, Wind and Fire? Well, it sounds like your first break. How'd that come about?
Well, I was playing in bar bands back east, and I moved to California. I play keyboards, and I moved to California in the '80s. And a friend of mine was offered to gig as their keyboard tech, just sort of helping to set the stuff up and program the sounds and all that. And he couldn't do it, so he turned me on to them. And I knew all their music inside and out, and I was hungry, so did a good job for them, and they let me play keyboards with them from '87 through '97.
Well, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Not ever. It's the best gig I ever had by far.
Yeah, that's cool how it came about too. I guess the stars fell in the right place.
Well, I mean, that's how everything happens. Really, no one sends out resumes in this business. It's all word of mouth. Someone hears about you, good or bad, and that's all. That's it, man. You're screwed if you're only
Yeah,
as good as your last gig.
it's
You know
what you put out into the universe, I guess.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I see you've worked with a few accomplished artists. Out of everyone you've worked with, what was your favorite project or favorite person to work with?
Well, obviously, it's all different types of music, but my favorite tour was Roger Waters. The Wall. He was a bass player from Pink Floyd. I'm sure your readers know that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was with that from 2010 to 2013, in between doing Mariah stuff and other people. And yeah, that was my favorite. I was with Madonna from 1990 to 2005. She was great. She used to let me play on stage too with her when I wasn't, on the promo tours. But yeah, Roger Waters was definitely my favorite gig.
That's pretty cool. So you've worked with a lot of famous people. Do you still find yourself starstruck ever, or do you get used to it?
The only time I would be starstruck is people that would never hire me.
Yeah,
Like Donald Fagen or Paul McCartney or some, because all the tours that I work on, there's quite a bit of technology and computers and stuff, and so yeah. In this end, not really. You kind of get used to being around the pretty women, like Mariah's and
yeah,
Jennifer Lopez's. And after a while, you just stop seeing it. You just think of them as your little sister and just move on, to your gig.
yeah. That makes sense. So out of Mariah Carey, she's one of my favorite artists.
Mm-hmm.
So you worked with Janet Jackson. Between the two, who was a better time working with?
Boy, it's tough. I was only with Janet very briefly back in 1993 because Madonna pulled me off. She said she wasn't going to tour, and she changed her mind, and she kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I had to work for Janet for about 3 months, and she was great. A really, really sweetheart. I worked with her brother Michael for a long time. He was,
Oh wow.
it's kind of hard to pick. I was with him in 2009, just before he passed away,
Oh, I see.
for about 4 months. And what a sweetheart, man! What a great guy.
Yeah, that's
So
honestly my favorite musician of all time. So that's pretty cool that you worked with him.
yeah, he's awesome.
So you're multi-talented, obviously, but what's your favorite thing to do personally? What do you prefer doing the most?
Well, honestly, at this point, I don't play out on stage as much as I used to. So, but I'm doing a lot of film scoring when I'm on the road in the hotel rooms. You get all this time off in between gigs, so you can, if you plan it right, you can start doing more film scoring, more sound effects editing, music editing, whatever they need done. And obviously, when you work with someone like Roger, this next we're doing this Coachella gig, and we're doing it with Paul McCartney, the Stones, the Who, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, and it's like 3 shows in a row, 2 weekends in a row at the Coachella Festival. But Roger's taking this up another level. He's doing like a surround sound system. It's never been done live before. It's like eight around, you know. So it's like stereo front, stereo rear, stereo on the left, front and rear, and stereo on the right. So people are going to get all jacked up.
All right, you're going to be a part of history then if it's the first time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the Who, and I mean, I did this thing called Live 8 back in 2005 or 7. You know, and Pink Floyd was there, and the Who, and all that. But it's they just played a few songs. This is going to be a situation where you can actually go there and see 6 of the best, you know, bands ever playing their full sets. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun.
That is. I would love to go to Coachella. I've never been, but how does it feel knowing you're going to be behind the scenes at Coachella? Is it cool? Do you get butterflies still?
Yeah. Well, I just try not to fuck up, you know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I get butterflies about. Is just is my gear going to behave? And it, you know, if you're smart, just buy stuff that is solid and have plenty of backups. It should be fine, you know.
So going off that answer, have you ever? What's like the biggest mess up you've had to deal with and overcome on stage?
Oh God. Well, normally I really haven't had any.
That's good to hear.
Since I mean, you know, because if you have one, that's it. I mean, you're dead. The only thing I had was back in the '80s with my first tour with Earth, Wind & Fire. Was playing keyboards off stage with him. I had to run a couple of those Roland MC500s.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to drag a computer around, and I had them, you know, 2 of these MC500s go into a MIDI through box, so that if one went down, I could switch to the other quickly. But the MIDI through box, some stagehand knocked the power cord out of it.
Oh,
but it was one of those old things where the LED stayed lit up, so you thought it was still on. I'm hitting play, nothing's happening. Run up on stage thinking the keyboard player didn't turn on something. Anyways, that was one. Then I ran back downstairs, realized what happened. It seemed like an hour, but it was only like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's funny how time slows down.
One show with Mariah, it was I was doing there was no band, it was just the MTV Awards or something, backstage in a really cramped area, and it's just the days of SCSI hard drives, and I had to drive right on top of my computer rack. And I saw this guy running down the stage, and he was moving in slow motion, or running down the stairs off the stage. And the motherfucker hit my hard drive right at the just before the last 2 bars of the song, and it stopped right on the beat, but the drive was like flying, and so yeah, those 2 are my only things. You know, you really can't have screw ups when you're doing this kind of a job for big folks.
Exactly.
You'll never work again.
You don't want to ruin that reputation.
No.
So, when it comes to doing music, a lot of people don't see all the work that goes behind everything. Are you content with that, or do you ever feel? Do you want more appreciation ever, or how does that go? Being a part of such big things.
There's no ego here. I don't care as long as the pop star I'm working for, whoever I'm working for, appreciates what I'm doing, which they always do. You know, it's cool. I don't need. And actually, you know, people really shouldn't know that much about what I'm doing behind the scenes. Not that I'm doing anything nefarious, you know, or some track dates, you know. But this is something that the pop star doesn't really want people knowing too much about, and I respect that.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, at this point, I don't care if I'm on stage, under the stage. You know, it doesn't matter as long as I'm getting paid.
Doing what you love.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty awesome. So I know you said the Earth, Wind & Fire tour was a big highlight, but was there any other highlights during your career so far that you'll never forget?
Well, that was probably the biggest one. I mean, Earth, Wind, playing with those guys, because, you know, I was in bar bands back east. We played everything they ever did. And not as well, obviously, but it was. I used to tell people, and say, man, I'm going to play with Earth, Wind and Fire someday, and they would go, but Mike, you're white. I don't care, doesn't matter. They said, but Mike, you suck, and I go, well, no, I don't suck. I'll get better. And when I did it, that was fun. That was nice to rub it in the face of some of the bar band folks I was with.
Yeah, I bet that probably feels amazing. So with that said, I bet everyone who does music, they're gonna face their doubters and realist people who don't believe in it. But how did it feel when you became so accomplished? Was it just good to know that you did what they said you couldn't do?
Well, I always believed that if I worked hard enough, I could do anything, and I was just, always, even in my bar band days, I just never took no for an answer, and I figured, there's people that play 1,000 times better than me, but there's nobody that works harder than me, so eventually people will see it, and they did. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't, no one can stop you from doing a good job, so, if you do a good job, people hear about it, it's cool, and just try and stay out of the way, and don't be an asshole. It's really not that hard. Just be on time. Don't be a dick. That's my advice.
So you pretty much just have to believe in yourself and have great networking skills to be successful, and work hard.
Yep, and you got to know when to network and when to not bug people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you have a connection. If you're people send you all this shit, and it's like, no, man. Listen, there is no easy way to do this. You just gotta do a good job, and people will hear about you. But you can't send me an MP3 of what you're doing in your basement. Expect me to take it to Mariah. That ain't happening.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know when. If I tell you how to do what I do, and you pay attention and you learn, then you come out on a gig and kick ass. Sure, I can help you out, but man, it's just sad because the music business just is not what it used to be, and people just there's nothing I can do because Mariah writes all her own stuff. She doesn't want to hear some other songs.
Yeah,
and it's tough. It's tough.
So you said the music business isn't what it used to be. How did the internet change everything? Did it ruin it, or did it further the advancement, in your personal opinion?
Well, in my opinion, what it's done that sort of backfired for us is that back in the 90s, artists made so much money off records that they didn't tour as much. So now the only way to make money is to go out there and put yourself out and do the proper merchandising and sell tickets. So I've never worked more than in the last 10 years. So it's kind of good that way for live show people that are working, but the artists are getting killed. People, I mean, can you imagine working your ass off, doing a good job, and then your boss says, you know what, I think I'm just going to be a pirate today, and I'm just not going to pay you for your hard work. And no, fuck that. So,
yeah, I see that. I did a show where I had the person doing the show stole some money from me. Have you ever came across something like that where you got the short end of the stick and there was nothing you could do about it? And how did you grow from that?
Well, you just learn that certain people that don't do business, that don't handle their business right, certain artists that I'm not going to mention here, you do it for them one time, and then they stick around paying you. You just don't do them the next time. So, but most of the tours I'm on, everybody's straight. Everybody takes care of business properly, and it's good. But yeah, there's been a few over the years that were slow paying or just shysters, just bullshit.
Yeah.
But they don't stay around long.
Exactly, like you said, the reputation probably catches up to them.
Yep, yes, it does.
So you said nowadays you got to tour to make your money. How is it hard being away from your family and friends for such long times, or do you bring them with you? How does that work?
Well, my wife's a teacher, so she's off in the summers. So that she can come along. She can't obviously move out full time, and I'm on my third marriage. So yeah, it's rough. But anybody that marries someone that does this should understand that this is what you do.
Yeah,
And you don't like it, go marry a construction worker. Somebody with a real job.
Yeah.
This is this is what it is. But again, I'll have 2-3 weeks at home in between tours sometimes, and sometimes more, sometimes less. But
Yeah. So being a pianist and playing the keyboard, how does that work with the ladies? Does it work like the movies where you could play a song and they go crazy for you?
No.
That's disappointing.
I mean, back in the 70s and 80s when I was in bar bands, that was a different time. But now, even when I was on stage with Earth, Wind & Fire, it's like, dude, you're only a white guy in Earth, Wind & Fire. You must be all kinds of chicks lined up. It's like, no, not really. Not at all. So, it's not like, for me anyway, it's not like that.
So when you were still on the outside looking in, how different is it now that you're on the inside looking out? Is it the same, or were you pretty close of how it would be?
Well, honestly, playing in bar bands, it was very similar to dealing with this. It was actually harder. This is actually easier. Because in bar bands you got to deal with, you got to drive your own shit, you got to set up your own shit, you got to deal with the publicity, you got to deal with the club managers and sell your own merchandise. So it's actually, being on tour is much easier, than bar banding it back then. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm probably all over the place here.
Nah, it's good. It's good listening. So, who inspired you to get into music? What got you into music? Do you remember that?
Yeah, pretty much like most people my era, watching the Beatles on TV, it was like, oh shit, that's what I want to do. So, and I started picking up a guitar when I was junior high school and playing in bands. Then they made me switch to keyboards because I just had a natural ability for it.
Yeah.
So.
How long did it take you to learn the keyboard?
Well, self-taught, so I just sort of picked it up. My dad had one in the house, and I'd hear a Doors tune on the radio and go, hey, I learned that, and I'd figure it out. And the guys in the band would come over, and I'd play Light My Fire or something, and they'd go, whoa, hold on, man. We need a keyboard player. You have to do that. And I said, but I don't want to play keyboards. I want to play guitar, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad they basically told me, well, either you play keyboards or you're fired. So
yeah.
So it worked out.
So with hip hop, and they sample a lot of different genres of music, have you ever came across any of your works and you were like, wow, they sampled my music? That's crazy. Or how does that go?
No, not really. Not at all. I mean, most of the stuff I've done has been behind the scenes with people. I did some horn arrangements with Earth, Wind & Fire. I did some stuff on their records, but I didn't get a chance to get anything I wrote actually out there. So no one's really sampled. And honestly, if someone takes my idea about how to approach what I do, that's I don't consider it stealing. It's just I just read the manual and figured it out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anything else you want to throw out there, Mike? Any future shows you're doing or anything?
Well, just I'm still with Mariah, and I got Roger Waters coming up, and beyond that, just trying to stay breathing. Just keep going.
All right. Well,
but I'm trying to do more film stuff, but I don't really have anything huge that I've done that I could pitch right now. Just some documentaries, some shorts that have won a bunch of awards, but nothing, no Academy Awards or anything like that.
But still, like you said, the work you put in pays off eventually.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, I hope so. But if it doesn't, I still enjoy doing it. So I think that's the most important thing. The bit of advice I could give to anybody is that don't do this because you think you're going to make a bunch of money. Do it because you love it, and the money will come. That's my advice.
Yeah, that's some great advice, honestly. That's pretty cool.
Talk to you again anytime.
All right, I appreciate you taking the time out, and you have a good night.
All right, thanks very much, man.
See you later, Mike.